That was a good one.
Well, we're back.
Hello.
Wow.
Oh, I'm just adjusting. Okay, there we go.
Wow. Not a...
I just didn't want it to be crooked. Happy
Honey,
Friday.
crooked?
Happy Monday.
Honey, you were born crooked, and the rest is drag.
No, my nose is really crooked.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mine is... wait, is it?
I have a deviant septum.
You got a Trixie Mattel nose. You got the Trixie nose.
I do. I desperately want to, not for like cosmetic
From
purposes.
the side, it looks great.
Yeah, but in pictures you can see it actually causes me a lot of issues in terms of breathing, because like if you look really close and I like breathe in really hard, one nostril like closes all the way when I'm breathing in and one doesn't.
Let's see. Oh my god, wait, it is true. You should do it to camera.
Okay, I'll do it to camera.
Okay,
I don't know if anyone can see, but I'm gonna breathe in through my nose and then you'll see the nostril situation. There you go. Happy Monday, everybody. You're so welcome.
Pioneer Peru.
I'm Trailblazer Nick, and this is
Pioneers and Trailblazers. And I almost corrected you because you said Happy Monday, and I was like, it's Friday, girl.
Well,
but
this comes out on Monday.
comes out on Monday. Happy to anyone who's commuting right now to work. Hope work doesn't suck. Don't belittle your coworkers just because you hate them. You know, when they go low, you go high.
And instead, suggest our podcast to them.
Yeah, be like, you know what? Actually, I know the solution for your moods and behaviors.
That's how you that's how you build community with people. Okay,
Yeah.
suggest different things for them to listen to, different shows to watch. Suggest this, bitch. Okay.
Suggest us. Cheers. We're drinking mommy juice, leftovers from our last party for Nick.
Yeah, literally.
But it's been quite a day. We've got a lot of things to cover.
It's been a week.
Sorry that, we may be rushed today because Nick suddenly has to rush out of here today, even though we made plans for this days ago.
I'm not in a rush. You live an hour away from me via
no
train.
one said that you said you had nothing going on besides Drag Race, so you didn't mind coming to me. Every time you mention how far away you live from me, you make it sound like I'm forcing you to come here.
No. I'm just saying I willingly volunteered to come up here because I came up here last episode too, but 2 episodes, whatever. But I volunteered, but it is an hour train ride. And then the thing about Drag Race viewing is I forget that the episode starts at 8, but then like you have to get there at like 7 to get a good spot.
Yeah, unless it's the gram.
Right. Unless it's the gram.
Which go support.
Which we love. But and so because of that, I'm going with my friend Bobby, and I'm meeting one of her gay friends that I've never met before. And we're going to go to Thor's hosting little event of the episode, which it will be fun, and I paid a ticket for, but we have to record, and it's now like 4:30, and then it takes me an hour to get home, and then it takes us an hour to record, and then I'm gonna have to go all the way home to drop off my shit, and then just to get back on the train right away. So we shall see, because I also have to eat dinner too, so we have to figure it out, but it'll be fine. I'm not in a rush. Ultimately, worst thing that'll happen is I just go to the bar with my backpack.
Which you've done before. It's not like this will be the first time. I know,
but I kind of wanted to look cute tonight, and then I was gonna change.
Well, time to get on that.
Yeah, well, I'm dressed. For those who are watching, I am just dressed comfortable today. I'm wearing a little cardigan and just comfy pants and shit.
Well, I think we're both kind of doing 80s lore in a different way. You're giving like Cosby 80s.
Not Cosby.
Oh my god, yes! Oh my, well, I guess 80s Cosby as far as like the look and the vibe
80s
at the time. Yeah, and his grandfather. Not anything else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I'm also giving 80s, but more like prep, popular person in school 80s. I am doing...
Oh, is that what you think?
Yeah, this is very much 80s inspired, 80s like prep boy without the earring though. I am wearing Sniffy's merch today, which I famously took from Nick. He told me he wanted the long sleeve, and so I took it.
You took it and then you cropped it, which means that it could never go back to where it was.
But tucked in, it's like denim looking, but just like fleecy jacket red. Like I'm just giving vibes today. I was telling myself to the mirror that I felt so ugly, and then Nick quickly swept it as a good friend. Finally, he's learning to be. I don't know if you have that, like you just want to tell people like, oh my god, I look so fat, or I look so ugly.
You're fishing for compliments.
Yeah, I want to fish for validation. It's a very different thing. Sometimes when you're feeling low, you want your friends to build you up. So like, it's not like, oh my god, I look so horrible, and then I want you to be like, no, you're looking great. It's like, I want you to... Well, whatever.
So no, I get it, but my way of going about it is just differently. I just ask, like, does this look okay? Do I look okay?
You never ask anything.
Well, because I'm always confident. I'm in myself, and I know I look beautiful.
Well, you notice the most confident people are like portrayed as to be the least confident.
I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah.
I think the ones that are the most confident,
people who
they look confident.
It's like
you can tell.
It's like the Drag Race edit, you know, like it's like wow, they're seeing like how much they struggle or how insecure they are, and then like they win the challenge. Like that's the vibe I'm
That's
giving.
different though. That's not confidence.
I'm giving Nymphia like, oh my god, I don't know how to do anything, and then you like slay the house down boots. Like that's what I do. No, actually, I don't do that either.
You don't do that either.
No.
You don't slay the house down.
Wow. Anyway, speaking of Drag Race lore, though, you're gonna go see Miss Thorgy Thor. Yesterday, I showed you. We were catching up at work, and then I showed you Miss Violet Chachki's Grindr profile because she famously came on my grid, and I obviously went ahead and said hello,
No
Miss
response.
Chachki. No response. I didn't say hello, Miss Chachki. I said my traditional hey, what's up.
That's like, oh my god, I saw a tweet yesterday. Someone had like taken a screenshot. Cola Scola, who for those who know is a comedian and has a play on off Broadway right now called Oh Mary. And
if you're in New York City and can afford to do a rush ticket, go see it because it was really good.
I'm gonna try to see it tomorrow with my friend Bobby, who I'm seeing Drag Race with tonight.
That's why I done previews.
Yeah, okay, whatever. But someone had like shared a screenshot from Grindr, and Cola Scola had hit them up and was like, and then their response was, oh my god, Cola Scola, and then they responded with an upside down smiley face, and then all the comments were like, you dropped the ball, like damn babe, like you really fumbled. And then I just think about like in college when Cola Scola hit me up, and I've talked to Cola Scola like on and off on like Grindr like for a couple of years. I haven't talked to like in the last like maybe like 3 or so, but they're favorited, you know. We every now and again we're like,
You've got them favorited already still.
And I think they still have me favorited because every once in a while I'll see the look at my profile.
Time to hit that back up, mama.
No, I'm just like, I would be friends. I'd be friends.
And it's so hilarious because like Nick always reads me for like, you know, hitting up or like sleeping with contemporaries, and it's just like really interesting because then like Cole would be someone who more traditionally, I guess, would be aligned to my realm of people to sleep with, not yours. So it is very interesting to me that like maybe you would just like start fucking ahead of time. You were just like, I'm gonna start this girly pop because I feel them rising.
Well, I had been a fan of them when they hit me up originally. Like I knew who they were, but I pretended that I didn't.
Well, I mean,
I always do that.
If we're gonna spill the tea, which is not even tea to spill, but Miss Erin Jackson has famously tapped me before and tried to do it, and they were also. I mean, I'm gonna spill whatever. This is not anything that's wrong. Well, maybe. Oh my god.
Well, maybe.
No, it's not wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong in moral wrong, but just funny because like Erin Jackson was one of my improv teachers, and this didn't happen while he was my teacher. Let's just get the record straight.
Okay.
Miss Jackson, not MJ. Today's a cancellation episode. We're just mentioning all the unmentionables.
And by we, it's just you. I don't engage with those people if they're canceled.
Oh, I don't miss anytime. Famously, if you want to go through my Instagram at Hey Peru, you know, like I sometimes do like photo dumps of just Grindr screenshots of things that I respond to, and one of them was that when I was like, hey, I had just seen The Life of Pi, I believe, on Broadway, and then which by the way, I also in the break between Act 1 and Act 2, I saw a hot person part of the ensemble, and of course I went on Grindr to see if they were there, and they were there.
I never get service in a Broadway theater. Like when I'm there, we're trying to like
what service provider do you carry?
U.S. Cellular. No one's heard of it. It's like truly like a Midwest. Like it's a Midwestern.
You're supporting small mom and pop cellular.
Well, the thing is like I'm my parents' plan, but like I pay into it. Like I had to pay for my own
he
phone.
Pays into it, everyone.
I had to pay for my own phone when I got it replaced.
Like
$100 a month.
You don't even know how much your phone bill is.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Oh my god, you don't pay your phone bill?
I do, but like my parents are just like, can you send us like this much? And I'm like,
oh
okay.
Oh my god, y'all, I'm having an existential crisis with Nick right now.
Why?
Because you should know how much your phone bill is, mama.
I don't know how much any of my bills are. I literally just like kind of close my eyes and pay. I just hope I have enough money in my account.
Is everyone...
That's what I did the other day when I had to pay my student loan because they like hit me up and they're like, oh, by the way, your bill's due at the end of the month. And I was like, okay, great. And I went to go see how much it was. And then they said, oh, last month you never paid. It's past due. And I went, oh, okay. So I paid last month's and then didn't pay this month because I didn't have enough money to cover it. And then I also had to pay Con Ed. And I guess I forgot to pay Con Ed last month too. And then I had and then I was like, why is my Con Ed bill so high? Like it's the winter. I'm not using my electricity. And then I was like, oh, it's because I didn't pay last month. So I had to pay that. And then I Venmo requested my roommate for her half of this month. And I was like,
she was like, wait,
no,
what?
at first I was like, oh, I guess I have to request her way more than I normally do. I hope she doesn't ask about it. And then I looked into like the breakdown and I went, oh no, that was my mistake. I was like, I never paid. I was like, cool. So I only charged her for what she was for this month. But I was just like, oh.
Listen, this is coming from the least financially irresponsible person. I am gagged and gooped.
Yeah, but like I'm like organized in different ways.
Well, me too. And finances is not one of them, but I definitely know what my bills are.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh my God! Wow, y'all.
I really don't pay attention to that. I'm so sorry.
So I've been an independent woman for a long time.
I've been independent since I literally moved to New York in 2017.
You're literally on your parents' phone plan that's called not independent.
I'm independent in every other regard. And I'm still paying for myself for everything. It's not like I'm not being bankrolled. It's not like our coworker who the other day.
Don't bring somebody else on.
No, I'm just saying. We know people who are like, oh, my parents gave me some money this week, and it's like a lot of money.
Yeah, but I mean, we work at a place where like a lot of these girly pops, like have this job because this is their only way for them to like go out to dinner and hang out. They're still being, like
bankrolled by their mama.
Yeah, but I mean, I would encourage you to try to get your own phone line. I think it'd be really good for you, good for your credit.
Well, when I'm 26, I'll do that. When I get kicked off my parents' insurance as well.
Well, anyway, how did we get here? Oh yeah, Grinder on Life of Pi. So
right. No servicing.
Service.
No service in the theater. I
Yes.
never get service in a Broadway theater.
I do,
and
Miss AT&T provides.
I'm always reloading, and then also because the seats are so close together, I always get self-conscious. I'm like, people are looking over my shoulder, seeing that I'm being a huge whore right now, trying to get some dick. But there was when I saw Anne Juliet on Broadway like last spring, one of the not one of the replacements, but one of the understudies who like was filling in for the role. I can't remember the name of the role. I can't remember. He was like the male, like romantic, like kind of lead. Wasn't
Romeo?
No, wasn't Romeo. Because like the whole show is like she breaks free from Romeo and she lives her own life independently and whatever. Blah blah blah.
And sings to Katy Perry.
Sings all of Max Martin's hits. And then
famously good person.
Is he? I don't know.
Isn't he also? See, you have one.
You're thinking of Dr. Luke. Dr. Luke is the bad one. I don't know anything about Max Martin besides that he produced 1989 Taylor Swift, which girl,
can we please not talk about Taylor?
No, we won't.
Everyone's been talking about it. I refuse.
I don't need to.
I refuse.
But then
Max Martin, right?
Max Martin. But then after that, during the intermission of that show, I immediately went to the Playbill and then tried to find this guy's Instagram because he was so fucking hot. Literally, and I was like, I hope he's gay. I hope he's gay. He played gay in the show, and I was like, well, not gay,
and
but
that's
like,
the worst.
but played like sexually ambiguous. and I was like, please be gay, and he is.
Wow, Max Martin also wrote and co-produced "Baby One More Time" by Britney.
Yeah, girl. Every single song that is in that show is a song that he has produced, and it's like a top top 10 hit on like Billboard.
Wow.
No, like he like literally like.
Well, Miss Victoria Monet, who I was rooting for the Grammys on the previous app, who won Best New Artist. Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Has also been writing hits for others, and finally it's her time. She's been doing this for 15 years.
She's been doing it for Ari.
15 years that she moved from the moment she moved to LA to now. 15 years it took her, and you know what? Good. And her husband's so hot. Oh my god.
Both of them are so hot
Girl,
together.
the kids are good. Anyway, so I was a Life of Pi.
Right, back to Life of Pi.
Life of Pi. Life of me. Oh my. No. Try to work it right.
You tried with that one.
Anyway, so I did find them, and I was like, hey, great job on Act 1. And this is not even before Act 2 had started. I was hitting him up during intermission.
He's in that dressing room.
He responds. He's like, oh my god, thank you so much. It's a rough one today. And I was like, rough? Like, it doesn't look like a rough one today.
You're like, bitch, take the compliment.
I was like, take the compliment. And so then I was like thinking, oh my god, he's into me because he responded. In the middle, in intermission, no less. That means that you must be interested in some form, And then when the show was over, I was like, Oh my god, we'd love to hang out and talk about it. Never heard back, but you know what? At least I got a response.
You got a fan. He's like, I have a fan, and that's all that matters.
He's a fan from the inside. You know, but you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
But anyway, wait, Grindr, Signal, phones. How do we get
speaking
there?
of Grindr, well, it doesn't matter. But speaking of Grindr, I did have sex on Monday.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, so let's start from the beginning of the week because I have some updates.
Yeah. Town hall begins.
Town hall begins. All right, let's start with Monday because then I'll wrap it up then with Wednesday and Thursday because I famously sping a few men.
So Monday, well, as a lot of you've known, as a ton of people have known, I've been in a kind of a drought sexually speaking, and somebody,
especially after being rejected by
Miss DL Daddy, like what the fuck was that last week? No, but someone had sent, was it either to you or was it to the Pioneers and Trailblazers Instagram? They were like, oh, like maybe Nick has been like so unhorny because of the Finasta ride he's been taking.
That person famously sent me the DM being like, hey, I don't think Nick would read this on his personal because he famously doesn't read his DM, so I'm sending it to you.
No, yeah, and then Peru read it to me, and I was like, that is a side effect. Erectile dysfunction surely is. That is not the problem. The problem, oh girl, she goes up. She can go up, and trust and believe she do.
Up, down.
I wake up every morning, she up, and then I do jerk off pretty much every day. There are some days where I'm just like, ugh, whatever, I don't have time, I'm not feeling it, I'm not gonna do it. But I've just been like unhorny in the sense of like I don't want to like meet up with somebody to have sex.
Yeah,
like
it does take work. It's an activity,
it takes time, and you have to prep, all that kind of stuff. So I'm at work on Monday. I work the breakfast shift on Mondays. So I'm in there at 8 a.m. and I'm there until 4. And so I'm at work and I'm on Grindr, and this guy that I've talked to on and off before who lives near where we both work was online. And I have like made plans with him before to like meet up. And it's always like last minute I like cancel or like I ghost him because there's just something about him that at the time made me think that he was like, his profile was, he's like, oh, I'm Dom, I kind of like rough or whatever. And I was just like, I don't know if he's gonna be like nice, like a nice person.
Yeah, it's always that.
It's hard to tell because like the pictures make him look like he's like really serious, and I'm like, I'm not really into that. But he's so hot.
Sometimes the transactional element of it, like it comes with the territory. But like with bareback only oink oink guy, like it was typical. Like, hey, what's up? Looking, and like I dabble with that too, just make it easy. But then sometimes it's just like, okay, like am I gonna go there and feel weird that like they're gonna see me and then be like, okay, hey girl, like
yeah. And so and it's always like that. It's very short and very to the point whenever we're talking. And so I think I tapped him, and it was like closer to me finishing. I think it was like I had 2 hours left of my shift or something, and he like responded and he was like, oh hey, like how are you? And I'm like, good. And he's like, you looking? And I was like, well, I'm at work until 4, so I was like looking to do something afterwards.
And he asked if you were looking.
Well, yeah, because he was looking for right then and there. He was like on, like when he's on, I guess he's looking for right now, and that's it. He only ever is on Grindr like when he wants to fuck. Like he's not just like chilling on there to like chat, which I love to chat. I'm like, I want to make friends. I want to like, hey, like what's up? Like I want to get to know people. And so he was like, oh, okay, got it. And then he kind of stopped talking to me, and then randomly he was like, you're gonna get out right at 4, and I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, so you want to come over after? And I was like, sure. And then he said something which I know you hate to receive, but he goes, you prepped? And I responded with, girl. I know, and I responded with, I'm just looking to suck a dick. I'm just looking to suck a dick tonight.
Great response.
I was like, that's all I want to do.
I never respond that way.
And then he responded. He was like, would you also be down to give me a massage? And I was like, I'm not a professional, but like I could certainly like give you a little rub down. And he was like, okay, that sounds good. And he was like, I was like, so do you want me to come over? And he was like, yeah, like come over. So then he sends me his address. He lives in a beautiful, like it's a townhouse that was like converted into like 2 or 3 apartments or whatever. And I like walk down the street, and it's like Greenwich Village or whatever, and I'm like looking around, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, this man got money. And I knew he had money because I like stalked him before, because like at one point he had his Instagram linked and then he didn't have it anymore. But like at the time I like remember googling him, and I knew that he was a very like well established man, and he's got a lot of money. And
did he seem the same on his Insta? Because sometimes
Yeah,
like these
he seemed-
photos,
he
you go on the
seemed-
Insta and then they're just like, oh, you're like a fully fleshed fag, and
No, like on his Insta, it was like similar, like it was very serious and it felt very business like focused versus like whatever versus like just personal. It was like a lot of like stuff about his like job, and I was like, okay. And I remember like still not being able to fully like pinpoint like how he like was in real life and how like I would interact with him. But then I get to the apartment, I like text him that I'm there. He like comes and gets me. He's like, hey, he's like in his sweats, and he was like giving kind of like mask vibes at first, and I was like, oh god, here we go. And then he like welcomes me in, and then he's got a full ass backyard, private, just for him. He has it. The apartment is gorgeous. It's huge. I was like, how long have you lived here? And he was like, 15 years. And I was like,
how old was he?
He's in his 40s.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my god, hot as fuck. And then I will come in and he's just like asking me how my day was, and I was like, good. And then he brings me into his room. I like walk into the bedroom, we just like start getting undressed, and then he's like, oh, I have some like massage oil or like massage lotion or whatever. And I was like, okay, great. He gets naked, I get naked, he lays on his stomach on his bed and like flat, and then I straddle him, I like get on top of him naked, and I just like get the lotion and I start massaging his back, and he was obsessed, absolutely obsessed with it. He was like, you're so good. He's like, where did you learn how to do this?
Wait 1 second before that goes on, like whenever you have somebody or whenever you meet, or because you don't I mean lately I've been hosting a lot we'll get to that, but like, is it one of those things where like you do a little bit small talk and then you kiss and then you start getting naked, or is it with this one was like you were just like okay and then you were just like literally starting to get naked as you're talking?
So it was like he welcomed me in, it was a little bit of a small talk, and then he kissed me a little bit, and then he like took me to his bedroom, and then we were making more small talk as we were getting undressed, and then he got onto his bed, and then he was kind of like he was making small talk like as I was like giving him the massage too, and just like asking me questions about like myself or whatever.
You're like, so
no, and I'm like
good.
no, and I'd be like going, I'd be like whatever, and he'd be talking, and all of a sudden he'd be like, oh, so like like I see you do comedy, and then he'd be like, oh yeah, right there. And I'd be like, oh yeah, is that I can feel a knot. Yeah, babe, I feel a knot right there. And he's like, yeah, just like that. Go as hard as you.
Anyway, that last video you posted was really funny.
Literally, and he was like, yeah, go as hard as you want. I was like, yeah. And then there'd be a couple of times where like he'd reach behind and like jerk me off while I'm like massaging him, which was like honestly kind of hot. And then I like did that for what, like maybe like 10-15 minutes. It was honestly like
a long time
that I was getting a massage, but like I didn't care. Like I thought it was hot, and like he's hot, and like he was really obsessed with me, so it's like great. And then I gotta see pics. I'll show you pics. I'm sure you've seen him on the grid. And then he turned around, and then I went to town sucking his dick, and he again obsessed. We've never had someone, actually I've only had one negative review of my dick sucking, but he was a loser. Everyone else has told me
What was the review?
I went over to this man's apartment. First of all, he tried to get me, he was like trying to get me to like, I don't know what I think he had a fetish for like white guys, and he like really wanted me to like.
Was he white?
No.
Oh.
And I think he really...
You don't want to disclose the this?
He like was like really into, and I don't want to like say this because it could be like controversial, but like he was like really into like the idea of like being fetishized for his race.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
He like wanted to be
as a person of color.
Yes, as a person of color. And he was trying to kind of bait me into being like, oh, I only like black guys. And I was like, but that's not the truth. And I was like, and
you were being baited.
He was like trying to get me to like say stuff, and then he like got me really high, and he's like, so like, why did you want to meet up with me? And I was like, well, you seem really interesting, and I find you attractive. Why do you find me attractive? And then like he was going in, and like, and it wasn't like him trying to like have a gotcha moment or anything. He was truly just like, he was getting turned on by it.
That's what he likes. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not into that. And I was like, whatever. And so wait, how did I end up here? Oh, and so then when I was sucking his dick, he was like, oh, he's like, you're using too much teeth. First of all, I never use teeth. First and foremost,
you're like this.
I am not that girl. I am not that girl.
But listen.
And then, no. And then when we finished having sex, he went, thank God you're not a woman. And I went, why? And he goes, because you'd be so pregnant right now. And that was the last time I ever saw him.
But that's last time we got pregnant.
Yeah. I literally, abortion clinic.
Yeah. You're like, I didn't know I was pregnant.
I know, literally, I was like TLC. I didn't know I was pregnant. It came out in the toilet. I was like, oh my God, my baby.
I didn't know I was pregnant.
I'd be like, where's the child support?
I know, which is so funny because like, here's the thing with like when sucking dick, because there's only a certain point in which your teeth will physically have to be like, you can do the whole thing, you know, like, okay, so here's pro tip for any 101ers and people wanting to learn the tips on how to suck a dick. The key is obviously upper lip over the teeth like this, and then if you want to really make it super smooth, you stick out your tongue, so it's like this. You're doing this with the penis, you're like right. Now sometimes you just want to do lip to lip, which is cool.
Listen, sometimes like, if you have a small mouth, stretch your jaw out, mama.
That's the thing.
Stretch your jaw. Take the heels. Okay, I learned this. I learned this in acting school. Number 2, yeah. I learned this in acting school. This is from voice and speech training, so this is professional. You're gonna take
Alexander technique.
You're gonna take the palm of your hand and you're gonna take it to your cheek and you're just gonna push in and go down.
Everyone repeat.
And you do that with both hands on both sides, and that helps to kind of like stretch out the muscles of your jaw, so that way you can open up your mouth wider.
Yeah.
So if it happens to be a little bit girthier of a dick, you know, these are just little stretch routines that you can do before you have your hookup.
Of course. And also, let's actually continue this, because this is actually very informative.
Educational.
You know, maybe the episode is going to be called How to Suck a Dick. You know? How to suck a dick. Parenthesis, for real. So
Not clickbait.
Not clickbait. Not clickbait. Yes, that's perfect. Because not like you said, some people have thinner lips, some people have bigger lips, and you know, if you've got more luscious lips, I've been called DSL all the time.
DSL means dick sucking lips, for if you don't know.
If you're, I don't know.
For the straight women who watch,
yes,
I don't think some of them might not know what DSL means. Dick sucking lips.
No, but I mean, women also get. Oh, I think some women also get called DSLs or whatever.
Right, but there are women who I would say there are some women that listen that are a little bit, you know, I'm sure. Married.
No, we know the demographic.
The demographic. You know, they may have never heard it before. Yeah. You never know.
So anyway, so then, and also, if you have a husband that you're trying to like, rekindle your own romance, this is the episode for you. We're teaching you how to suck a dick.
Yes, your husband's gonna go crazy.
Guaranteed, or your money back. Your husband tonight. You make those kids dinner. You put them to bed,
and then you swallow the other kids at the end of the night. Mama, you swallow the rest of the kids that you don't want to give birth to.
Let me tell you, these tips are gonna make him impregnate your mouth. He's gonna be like, oh, all the kids in the mouth.
You know how sometimes your parents would tell you that if you ate watermelon seeds, a watermelon would grow in your stomach?
Exactly.
That's gonna happen. You're gonna swallow those kids, a baby gonna grow in there.
Octomom.
Literally, that was me the other day.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're gonna get back to this, but I really want to, because this is actually really okay. So 1, 2, and if you have thin lips, unfortunately, you do have to use as much coverage as you can on the teeth. Both techniques are great. That being said, your teeth are still there, unless you don't have teeth, in which case, congratulations, you've won the lottery of dick sucking. But when you have teeth,
or if you have dentures, you can just take them out.
Of course, please, any grandma's listening. But if you have teeth, they're gonna be there, so don't get overly self-conscious if when you're sucking a dick you feel a teeth rub, because eventually that's gonna happen depending on the positioning or what you're doing with your hand,
and depending on how like big and how thick it is.
Of course, like if the dick is too big, you know, of course. And so what happens sometimes is when, you know, what's called when you swallow a cock, when you're swallowing a cock, whether you're all the way down, it is, your teeth cannot cover enough. Like the dick is gonna rub with the teeth, and that is completely okay. It's just a matter of just like throat flexibility. Now deep throating, we can get to that.
Well, that too, and that comes into play later. And also just make sure that you're using a lot of like spit.
Of course,
you want to get it nice and like lubricated, because that also helps, because nobody enjoys a dry blowjob.
Yeah, and guess what? You thinking, being self-conscious, being like, oh no, like I don't want to like spit on it or put it. Oh, the boys love to get their dick spat on. They love to get it juicy. They love the whole
They like
thing.
it nice and wet.
Yeah, what you think is like gross or like not cool, they love it.
Yeah.
Like, let me tell you, once you do that spit or you get it all wet, they're gonna be like, it'll feel better for them too. So they want it to be wet. So don't get self-conscious about it. Mm-hmm. And then just practice whatever feels comfortable. Now, when it comes to choking on it, that's a more advanced lesson, which we can address in a different episode. Mm-hmm. If you want to do like acting lesson again, tear or choking tears, we can get there on advanced dick sucking. But for now, use these tips. Yeah. Don't be self-conscious about the teeth. Just work it out. And, you know, when all else fails, just like always rub it with your hand.
Yeah, you can also feel free to bring a hand into play. Some people don't like a hand being used; they just want the mouth.
And
but
they will let you know.
They'll let you know for sure.
They'll let you know.
But yeah, so this guy. So,
I've had this been done to me. Like, pretend you're sucking a dick. I've had this been done to me.
Oh,
and I was like, oh.
No, I've had it where they're like, oh yeah, just your mouth, baby, just your mouth. And then it's like, okay.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah, it's like sure. But this guy, so on Monday, so then
you're massaging.
So I massaged. He turned over. I started sucking his.
You off.
I know. Well, he did jerk me off a little bit, and then he flipped over, and then I started sucking his dick, and then he was like laying on his back, being like, like he was going crazy.
So he was verbal.
His dick was big. And but the thing was, the way that it was shaped, it like.
Big for you, dick, or big in general?
Big in general.
Was he 8?
I'll show you a picture. Oh, actually, I don't know.
I gotta see. Wait, well, you gotta show me.
Well, I'll show you.
Okay.
And so then, I sucked it, and then I was deep throating. I'm really good at deep throating. That's like one of my skills.
I love it,
Mama.
Love
good.
it. The choking.
And he literally, I took it all the way down, and he goes, "Oh my god, where did it go?" He was like, he's like, where did it go? Like, oh my god! And I like took it out.
Okay, Houdini.
And I literally,
Houdini.
Call me Dua Lipa. I literally like, I came up for air, and I was like, it went all the way back, baby. And then he was like, yeah, baby, yeah, I'd like to put it back down and whatever. And then he like, oh, I forgot to mention, when I was massaging him, he asked me what kind of kinks I was into. And I was like, like I'm open to most. I was like, I'm into like, I'll try most things once, depending on what it is. I was like, most of the things that I've done.
But scat, I will never try that.
Yeah, I won't do scat. Fisting. I'll get pissed on. I don't care about that. In the shower, maybe.
I will get closer to pissing than fisting or scat. Those two are at the bottom of the list, and I don't think I'll ever cross that list.
Sure. And so then I was like, I've done dom sub. I tend to be more sub. I can do a little role play. I've been tied up before. Well, I'm always sub. And then I was like, I've been tied up a couple of times before. And then he was like, oh, that's hot. So then I'm sucking his dick. And then I was sucking his dick for a while, and then he was like, oh, I want to fuck you so bad. And I was like, he's like, I'm gonna have to fuck you sometime. And I was like, oh, I will certainly come back, and you will certainly fuck me, because like this has to happen. And he was like, and he was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. And then I sucked his dick a little bit more, and then
I'm freaking out.
I'm sucking his dick some more, and then all of a sudden he like gets up. Oh, he gets up, and then he gets over, and then like gets in between like my legs to like wrap around his waist, and then he's like making out with me a little bit, and then do you want to turn that on?
Yeah.
The light.
Yeah.
You're okay, great. And so then we're making out, and then all of a sudden he like gets his finger wet, and then he like takes like my hole, and then just like kind of like touching around the outside of my hole with his like little like lubed up finger, and then he sticks it in, and I'm like thinking to myself, I had just taken a shit before. Like, I had shit twice at work before I went over, and mind you, I think by the grace of God, I had the day prior had gone out for lunch with my friend Isabel and Gio, and they took me out for vegan dim sum, which means
the Lord knows.
The Lord has her eye watching over me. So all I had really in like my body, like when I shat, was vegetables for the most part. You know, it was like very healthy, very like clean. So when I wiped,
it was the one where you can see the greens.
No, literally when it came out, I wiped like literally nothing there. And then I was like, great.
So
and then
fibrous greens.
Sure. And then I finished. So then I did that. I shit at work. And then like 2 hours later, I had a little rumble in my tummy again. I was like, oh my God, I have to go again. So I went whatever. And I shat again, and it wasn't as much. It was a little bit more liquidy, so it was a little bit like, ooh.
Yeah, it's like the remnants.
The remnants, and I wiped again or whatever, and I was like, okay. But I was like, I probably can't bottom, so I was like, that's why I was just gonna suck dick. But then he started fingering me, and then I was like, oh God. And then he put 2 fingers in, and then I was like, oh. And then he put.
Was he using lube with this one or
just spit? Just spit. And then and then he put 3 fingers in, and then I'm like, oh. And then all of a sudden, like, I felt like he was like trying to stretch me out for his dick, because his dick was girthy and long, and I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, well, maybe we'll fuck. And he was like, yeah. He's like, you sure your hole's not ready? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And then he's like, you need poppers? And I was like, sure. And so then
oh my God, you tore
Hi, Clover.
Wow, Miss Clover interrupting.
Oh my God.
How did you get in, honey?
The door wasn't closed all the way.
Wow. He's like, I want to be a part of this.
He said, I need to learn.
Please, I heard the lesson.
Please tell me.
It was a lesson. Okay.
Hold on. 1 second. Pause.
Pause. Come on. Are you gonna be good? Okay, cute.
Okay. So then he's like, you need poppers? And I was like, yeah. And so then.
Wait, but also disclaimer on that one, because then you've done your due diligence by letting him know what the situation is. So if he wants to continue playing,
that's why I wasn't nervous about it.
You were just like, okay, you literally are the one who's continuing on this,
that's
and I'm on board. If you're on board, so good.
I was like,
I would feel less self-conscious.
I wasn't super self-conscious. I was like, okay, cool. And then he's like, oh yeah, you want poppers? And I said, oh sure. So he brings out this like bottle of poppers.
What brand?
It was a nondescript. Like,
lately I've been seeing weird brands around. I'm like, I need these boys to get on their.
There was no branding on it. I've been seeing this a lot with like the Twitter porn people. Is that
they take it off?
They take it off, but it's like bottles I've never seen, but like bottle shapes I've never seen before. Like it was like a bottle, like it was like like normally a lot of them are like. We
still have to do our like poppers haul.
Sure, it was like because normally the poppers bottles are like short and they're kind of like wide or whatever, or you can get the bigger ones
that are like thin but wide.
Yeah, but it wasn't any of that. It was like kind of like longer in cylinder. And whatever.
Once again, Nick getting drugged. Nick's always doing meth, getting drugged, taking allergy pills like he doesn't.
I'm sorry, if someone threw you that bottle, you'd probably be hitting it too. You're trying so don't be trying to say that. So then I'm taking the hit of poppers, and then next thing I know, and then he's like fingering me. No, he's like fingering me like. It for some reason like it feels like I'm being stretched really like a lot, and I'm kind of going like, like I've.
Oh, so he was already entering you?
No, he was just fingering me, but like for some reason it felt like so much more than normal. And then he pulls out and he goes, "You ever been fisted before?" And I go, "Never." And he goes, "You're pretty much there." And I was like, "What?" Man was like beginning to like start to like fist me. I literally was like, first of all, for those who listen, and those the townspeople who've been here from the beginning, they know that I have a medically tight asshole. I've gotten hemorrhoids and anal fissures like hemis and anal fissures like crazy. Just a dick looking at my hole, boom, hemorrhoid. Like it's there. And this man is he was like practically about to fist me. He's like, I didn't realize this at the time, but
you were just like so into it, the fingering, that you didn't realize you had like 4 fingers up your ass.
I could feel that it was a lot going on, but I was like, he's just trying to like stretch. I thought he had like 3 fingers and it was just kind of like stretching them out to like get his like dick, like his girthy dick.
Nick,
whatever.
This is wild.
And then he pulled out and then he spits on his dick. And then he like spits on my hole, and then he like kind of teases it a little bit, and then he puts his dick in, and he starts fucking me, and it's good. And I'm on my back. He's fucking me missionary. And then all of a sudden he stops in the middle of his having sex, and he's like, because his phone starts ringing, and he's like, oh fuck, like I have to take this.
It's the cops.
No,
no, like, you are abusing.
No, he was
like,
he was like, I have to take this. So he goes, gets up, grabs his phone while he walks out of the room to like go grab his phone that's like ringing outside, like in the living room. I'm like checking my hole to be like, is there blood? Is there poop? Like what's happening? Clean as a whistle. And then he comes back on the phone because he has a car and he's like, it had it parked at some garage service and it had to get picked up to get fixed. And so he was on the phone with like the people that were picking up his car, and he's on the phone and he's talking to them, and he starts fucking me while he's talking to the mechanic on the phone. And he's like doing missionary, and he's like looking at me, and he's like, fuck yeah. But then he's like, yeah, so it's in this parking, it's over in this parking spot. And he's like, yeah, you see it? Yeah, you see the car? Okay, great. And then he'll like take a moment to like look at me and be like whatever. And it was so hot. It was so hot.
This is what a triumphant return. We've done this 24 episodes. This is the most shocked I've been by any of your stories.
So then he hangs up, and he was like, and then he's like, I'm sorry. And I was like, no,
it's fully
was inside of me and trying to remain composed so he didn't let the guy on the other end know that he was like having sex. And then he pulls out, and then he lays down, and he's like, I want you to ride it. And I was like, okay. So I'm like riding his dick, and then he's like, was like, oh, I want to see you come. He's like, I want you to come for me. And I was like, yeah, daddy. But I wasn't like anywhere near like.
Yeah, this is so quick. He just got in you.
Well, no, he was fucking me for a couple of minutes by that point. And then when I got on top of him, he asked me how. He's like, how do you come normally when you're getting fucked? And I was like, oh, it's either on my back or riding. And he's like, okay, great. And then, but by that point, like, I wasn't like super hard. Like, I wasn't like. again, when I'm
You don't,
bottoming,
yeah.
I'm typically soft. Like, unless, like, I'm when Deal Daddy ate my ass last week, like, I was hard as a rock. But I was just, I think as soon as he brought up, like, me coming, I get self-conscious about it, because then I'm like, oh, now there's, like, pressure because they want this from me. And if I'm not hard. So I wasn't, like, super hard. I was, like, kind of semi. And then I'm riding him, and then he just, like, takes my dick and just starts jerking me off. And then, like, maybe 30 seconds of riding him, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna come. He's like, yeah. And then I literally was like, and he was in, oh, I forgot. So he was really into, like, he's been into, like, being rough. And he would, like, when I was sucking his dick, I would, like, take, like, little moments, like, to get some air or whatever. And then he would, like, slap me.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. And it was like, and he did it in a way that wasn't too hard. Like, he knows what he was doing.
It was just sexy. Yeah.
And then he would, like, spit in my mouth too when he was fucking me, which I was like, I was really into. And then he was like, because he tried it, and I would like open my mouth and I'd be like,
Yeah.
and then he'd be like, and I'm like, and then so then I'm riding him. He's jerking me off. I'm like,
Wait,
I'm gonna come.
hold on. So okay. So then, since he does like it rough, so once again, this is, very bombshell announcement here on the pod. So he's fucking you, and I'm assuming is he being rough too? Like, is he pounding you out, or is he being sexy smooth?
He's being like, it's both. It's like he starts off sexy smooth, and then he'll get a little rough, start pounding, slap my face, like whatever, and he's like, yeah, you, and then like a light choke, a light choke, and then be like, yeah, you like that? And I'm like, yeah, daddy, yeah, I love it. And I'm gonna save this for the end.
This is amazing. This is amazing. I'm experiencing this through you right now.
No, yeah. And so then, but he's like really in the zone when he's like in his like rough dom mode. And so then he's like, you're gonna come. And then I was like, yeah, but just be careful, like watch your eyes, because like I shoot kind of far. And then he's up and he's like, whoa, oh, okay, yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you.
Oh, when I'm having sex and like I'm having sex with somebody and I come, like it.
Well,
and so it's caused problems before, because I've like wrecked furniture, or not like furniture, but like I've gotten like in people's eyes, or like on people's like furniture. You know what I mean? But then so I'm always just like, watch your eyes, like I don't want to get in your eyes. And he's like, oh yeah, no, totally. And then he's like, yeah, no, oh my god, no, totally.
You did an eye washing station every time you have sex with you.
And he like literally like went out of his like dom thing and was like so nice and so like whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, go. And then I was like, I'm coming. And then I finished, and he was like, yeah, you weren't kidding. He was like, fuck. And he's like, I'm gonna use it as lube. And so then I got off of him. That is
the ultimate turn on.
No, and so then I got off of him, and then he started jerking off, and then we were making out while he was jerking off, and then he came, and then
on you?
On like he was like laying on his back, and I was like on like laying next to him, like making out with him as he was jerking.
You were like, oh, like first ladying. You were just like,
yeah, I was very much first lady. And then he was like, oh, I'm gonna come. I was like, yeah, come for me, daddy. And then he finishes on himself or whatever, and then he's just kind of like laying there, and then we just like kind of like lay there for a second, kind of like I didn't think he was gonna be the kind to like want to cuddle or whatever, but he did. He like wanted, and then he just like, kept asking me questions about myself, and I was like, oh, okay. And then he was like, what time is it? And I looked, I was like, oh yeah, what time is it? Because I have to like leave soon. And he's like, oh, what do you have going on today? And I was like, oh, I have like my little writers group, like I like I write and like whatever. And he goes, oh, like you do comedy? Like I saw your Instagram. And I was like, oh yeah. And he's like, yeah, you're like really funny. And I was like, oh, okay, like cool, thanks. And then he told me, so he is like an author. He also owns a farm.
Author of what?
Books.
Yeah, well, I know, but like, did you take a look at does he have an Insta link? Do you remember? Like,
no, the Insta is no longer linked, and I can't remember. Well, his name is Nick. Literally, when I walked into the apartment,
I just walked out.
When I walked into the apartment, he was like,
I can't with that. That actually killed it for me.
No, I walked into the apartment, and he's like, oh, so lovely to meet you. He's like, what's your name? And I was like, Nick. And he goes, oh, I'm Nick too. And then I was like, oh my god, name twin. And then when he was fucking me, I was like, let me just like try to moan his name instead of just like going like daddy. And I was like, oh fuck yeah, Nick. And he was like, yeah, that's my name. And I was like, okay, this is weird. I was like, I'm just gonna keep it to daddy. And then we got up, and then he like toweled off, and then he asked me if I like needed to like shower or anything. I was like, no, I'm good. And then we were like, I got dressed, and we were just chatting and stuff, and then he told me, he was like, oh, like what are you writing? And I was telling him what I was working on, and he was like, oh, like I used to take screenwriting like class or whatever. He's like, I've written a few things before for some people. And I was like, oh, very cool. Like, yeah, he's very hot. He had a dog. Oh. His dog was obsessed with me. She was like in love, and I was like, slay. And then he's like, I'm gonna favorite you. He's like, I'm gonna star you. He's like, you need to come back. And I was like, okay.
Wait, pull him up. See, I've never encountered a situation with somebody had my name, but I just can't imagine.
Me neither. I actively avoid it.
I just can't imagine how jarring it could be to have somebody that you're sleeping with be. It would be a completely more complex thing. Have I seen him? I don't think I've seen him.
You haven't?
No.
That's the picture that he sent me, and then I was like, that's why I was like, oh, I'm not gonna meet up with him.
Oh, you were like,
I was like, that's like too much,
too mean for me. Okay, great.
No, it's like, yeah,
love. Oh yeah, and he seems like a real person too. You know what I'm saying?
No, he's like very much like a real person. Like he's very hot.
I approve. I approve of this message.
And then
now I'm jealous. I'm like, I gotta look on the grid.
And he's so close to work too, and he's like, you're gonna have to come back. And I was like, I will. And then I have like looked at his profile since, and he hasn't hit me up since, but it's like whatever. I think he just uses it when he's like horny. But I did see him on Sniffies yesterday, and he did say on the profile that he marked himself as straight. And I was like, oh. I was like, you're straight?
Really?
Interesting.
Maybe he's just doing it for the fantasy.
I think he's doing it for the fantasy for sure.
Yeah.
But then speaking of Sniffies, this is really embarrassing for me. But Sniffies Twink, this is what I was gonna tell you.
Yeah.
I saw him on Sniffies for like the first time in months, and I responded because we follow each other on Twitter, and I messaged him and I went oomphy, which is you know that phrase. Yeah. And then never responded. And then 2 days later, he was like, "Oh my god, hey!" And I was like, "Okay, he's not interested anymore." But he did follow me on Instagram. After that, so I was like, "Okay, come on, fan."
Follow.
But yeah, that was my week.
Wow. Listen, first of all, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Wait, will you pass the mommy juice anymore?
Congratulations.
No many.
Especially because you've had a resurgence, and like your big return was supposed to be
DL Daddy,
and DL Daddy's proved to be a complete flop, and that could have been like a Lindsay Lohan moment where like it's like your Elizabeth Taylor biopic, like it was supposed to be your big comeback and it wasn't.
Lindsay Lohan.
And then so now, but Lindsay Lohan's having another Liz and Dick. But now you're having another return, and apparently she's got 3 movies coming out on Netflix, and it's a big studio deal, her big comeback.
Right. I mean,
This is your comeback.
Sure, for sure.
Wow.
No, it was good. And then I was a little bit nervous because my hole did feel a little bit tingly and stingy afterwards.
You came to work ready, because we always tell each other, like, don't tell me, I want to hear on the pod, like, I want to have a genuine reaction. And, like, I knew it had something to do with the sex, but then I can imagine your poor hole.
No, I mean, after he was like, you're pretty much there, when he was like, have you ever been fisted? I was like nervous for my hole because I left and my hole felt a little stingy. And
that being said, are you going to be fisting now, Mama? I don't think so.
No, absolutely not. That is not in my future. But and so then I was so nervous, and then when I got home, I showered, and then I aquafored the fuck out of my hole. Just made sure she was nice and moist. No. And then
here's a real tea sometimes.
And the next morning we were fine.
Because when you do cleanup after sex, like if immediately after you just do a quick towel wipe or whatever wipe and everything seems okay, and like the trade leaves and whatever, and then like that's only the front facing cleanup you do in front of the person. Once the person leaves the fucking door, you bet your ass in like 3 minutes I'm hitting that toilet. Dropping the kids off at school.
Sure.
And then that's the true testament of like how clean you were, because sometimes you're like, Mom, I was a hop and a skip from El Nino.
Oh no.
But sometimes like, and lately, so I got back on my fiber game and obviously back on my fitness journey. My eating, I'm super like fibrous lately. I'm pretty good. My cleanup has been very good so far.
Okay.
Which actually I guess leads into my town hall, because yesterday I had sex 3 times.
Oh my god.
And it all happened between the hours of 11 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Okay.
Hosted 2 men at night.
At the same time?
What?
At the same time? 3-way?
No.
Oh.
The last one I tried to make into a 2 where they both combined. But I was like, it seems like too much work organizing. At that point, I was just like,
Real quick. I don't think I've ever told you this, but there was one time that just made me think of this. One time in college, this daddy hits me up and invites me over to his apartment to come over to like hook up. And I was like, okay, great. And then I'm on my way there, and as I'm on my way there, he messages me and he goes, oh, I also made plans with this other guy, and he's coming over, and like I confirmed with him, and he like just confirmed, and he's like about to get here. Like, so sorry, like this is gonna be weird. Like, feel free to still come. Like, whatever. Like, this is like thinking it's gonna be like basically offering like a threesome type situation.
Well, then on the bottom.
Well, I think the other person was like verse. I don't know what the deal was, but I was like, okay, whatever. I was fucked up because I had been out that night. I was like drunk, and I was like, okay, sure, whatever, fine. And so I get to the man's apartment. He welcomes me in. The other twink sees me, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna go home. And the guy was like, what? Why? We could all have fun together. And he was like, yeah, I'm just not feeling it. I'm gonna go home. And I literally
killed the vibe for everyone.
Oh, I stayed. I stayed, and that man never got hard. I was sucking Play-Doh for 15 minutes, and then he was like, literally, he's like, sorry, I don't know what's like gotten into me, like I don't know, and he literally couldn't get hard.
That's the worst.
He gave me old poppers that didn't work to use, and then he wanted me to spend the night. He then fell asleep, and in the middle of the night I got up because I was like, I'm not spending the night at this man's place, like this is like too much.
No.
And I just snuck out. And then the next morning, he, like, messaged me, like, what happened to you? Like, we had so much fun. And I was like, so sorry. Had an early morning, needed to sleep in my own bed.
Girl, that reminds me of this story. I don't know if I ever told you this. I mean, we have time. Are you okay? It's 5:14. Okay, clearly not okay.
I think I'm just going to meet her at the bar.
Okay. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
You can change into some of my clothes if you want, like the cute little vest I have.
Well, I'll see. We'll take a look.
Okay. Anyway, that reminds me of the. Oh, you're crying.
No, I'm literally crying.
This is what it looks like when you do the choking. Everyone, back to lessons to Dick. This is the look.
This is the look.
You're trying to achieve this.
You're trying to achieve
subtle tears.
Subtle, just like wet in the eye.
Just like when in the end, then you look up and then you're like, yeah. Also, noises go a long way, y'all. If you're sucking dick. The guys unless it's that one stupid guy who was like less noise.
Oh,
when that was
when we were kissing.
That's just a guy that being an idiot, because most people are like, if you feel like, oh
no, what I love to do.
I'm
gonna share some secrets real quick.
More secrets, please.
No, I love. So what I do is, yeah, obviously, like I do the standard like sucking
well,
up and down.
I don't do that, but I'm like, but I like to like.
No. I mean, not like noise. I just mean like just like sucking.
But I like the noise.
No, I'm talking about like technique. I'm talking technique here.
Oh yeah, continue.
So I'm just like, you know, the standard like going up and down, up and down. But what I also like to do, I like to tease a lot. So what I was doing with the guy on Monday would be like, I'd be sucking him really hard with like, and then I'd like include my hand or whatever and going
yeah.
And then I would slow down, and then I would just like lift up, and then like have my tongue just kind of like play around on the tip, and then like drag it up and down like the shaft and like the side.
So this is called the lollipop technique. So everyone remember the lollipop technique. You're learning a lot. The first lady position is when you're laying next to the guy. So if you're the first lady, you're just like hand on chest. The guy's like jerking off, and you're just like licking their neck,
and you're like, give me that cum, daddy.
Give me that cum, daddy. So that's the first lady. That's called the first lady. The first lady.
Trademark
position. Really, the title of M2, the first lady. Although let's just suck dick, aka let's just suck dick. Whatever. So many choices. The lollipop technique is when you come out, and then because you know there's sensation everywhere, and also balls. We can talk about balls,
sure,
but not everyone likes to get their balls sucked. So you always have to go into the ball territory as just like a suggestion of ball play. Then the guy will tell you like
they're into
suck on the balls, whatever.
And Monday I went down and I did the thing, the lollipop technique. I went down the shaft, and then I dragged my tongue down to the ball.
Just like as a gesture,
as
like,
a suggestion, just a little kind of like ooh, what's that sensation down there? And then he was like, yeah, lick the balls, baby.
Good, yeah.
And I'd be like,
yeah, and then you're told. But if you're not told anything about the balls, then don't proceed. Just do it. So this is the penis. Everyone pay attention. So this is the penis. So you're going like, okay, in, out, and then you're like, hand, you know. Now after that, then you can open up. You can do like tongue around the rim.
Okay.
Especially if they're uncut. You know, because the head's out. Then you're like, and then
get underneath the foreskin.
And then the lollipop technique, which is just like, You know, like you're sucking on a lollipop, like sometimes I even just like to go from like the side and I even do like a little bite when I'm trying to be frisky. So I'm just like, and then they're like, and I'm like,
I don't do that. I'll do a little kiss. I'll do a little kiss there.
I love it. I mean, I'm not biting, but just like
a nibble.
Like the nibble surprise, because it always gets like a reaction from the guy. The guy's always like, and I'm just like, oh,
you're like, oops,
like, oops, you just got a little too much into it. So yo, but yes, balls, just go down, and then come back up. And then let them tell you. Because the balls are very sensitive territory. For example, I don't like my balls being played with or touched or I mean, you can lick them, but it's not something I even want you to even go there if you don't want to. Like, it's not a place for me. So same guys are and balls also.
Well, it's all just about listening to your partner, and making sure that you're
really all about listening.
Yeah,
it's all about consenting.
Right, of course. But you had sex twice.
Yeah, but actually, fuck that story. I just fucked these two guys. One guy played the bassoon, and the other one just would not come. And the first thing on his Grindr profile said nipple play, and I had no idea how much nipple play was gonna come into play because the guy fucked me for a good 40 minutes, and he would not come.
What, can I see a picture?
And at one point, yeah. But I'm recording, so I can show you now. But at one point, I was so wet, and I was like, you did all the positions, first lady, lollipop, I did everything. Literally,
I was so wet.
It was very wet, and so I was like, oh my god, like at one point,
because we know how you are when you get really wet, girl.
Shut up. No, because then I was just like, okay, like what can I do? You get to the point where you start asking the partner, like, what can I do for you? Because
like what turns you on, like what can I do?
Signaling, it's time to go.
Like I want you to
2
come.
a.m. I want you to come. And then he would not stop, and he was rock hard, and he kept enjoying it.
How old was he?
He was 25.
Oh, so contemporary.
Yeah, contemporary. I'm pulling a Joe Biden.
You malfunction.
Yeah. and so anyway, so he wouldn't come until forever, and then he just kept guiding. He kept grabbing my hand and putting it on his nipples, and I was like, okay, I get it. But then I will admit I am not the best at nipple play because I can never know when it's too hard or too little. Because some of these people literally love to get their nipples twisted and bleeding, and some just want like it to be tickled with, but not even bit. Well, and the thing is, really, nipple play is so difficult to really read, and like you need to tell your partner what exactly you want done, because you can't just bring my hand up to your nipple and expect me to know what to do. Like, I need to know how hard, tickle, flick, lick.
You can just like feel it out and just like see like what you're doing, like, and how they react to it.
Nip. Yeah, I'm just
because like what I do. I mean,
he wasn't even reacting to it. I was just like, okay, do, and then
well, then if he's not reacting, then it must be just fine.
Yeah, but then I was just like, I wasn't even seeing any signs of like him getting turned on. So I literally towards the end I was like, what can I do? And then it was so funny because like he just kept fucking me. We were going on for a long time, and then he was like, I can tell you want to come, so like I'm just gonna speed the things up. And I was like, oh, and then he like pulled down and started jerking himself off, and I was like, great.
Thank you.
And then I was like, now don't you go nutting outside, you pull it back in. And I was like, you
keep the kids home.
Keep the kids home, please. Don't abandon those kids. This is not the border crisis. You're good.
Okay.
This is a political message, gonna get those kids home. You're not gonna leave them home.
No child left behind.
No child left behind. Okay. And so he did, and then we finished, and then whatever. So that was fine. But
wait, no, but that is
the real good story.
Real quick though, the nipple play thing. I personally, I don't have sensitive nipples, and so like whenever like someone's like tries to like squeeze on it, I'm like, girl, that does nothing for me. That just hurts. That just hurts. Like, stop.
Yeah.
But no. I understand. Like, if I were a straight man, I would be a boob guy because I love like pecs on a dude. Like, guy I was getting fucked by on Monday was just like grabbing his chest and just squeezing on. No, versus like I'm not a butt guy.
Well, listen, I could tell you're not a butt guy, but do I love making my way down to a guy's ass and feeling it be like
as he's fucking you
and like firm, like, oh girl. So in that sense, I am a butt guy. I will grab your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's them. I just fucked two guys, and this other like 21-year-old that fucked me on fucking Thursday, whatever.
21.
Yeah, who like was really meek and like very quiet, but then he was like, I haven't come in a week, and I was like, cool. He came in, he had like a big 8-inch girth cock, and then he was like, he brought this piece. He was like, I was like, do you have lube? Yeah. Look what the 21-year-old brought.
What is?
visual learners, take a look. This is literally the loop that is like a metropolitan, like the.
That's what they give you in the fucking like the student health center at your college.
Literally, I was like, "What is this?"
It's a single use lube.
So you could tell, it was like a young person. It also tasted sweet. I was like, "Ugh, what is this?"
That's why that's why I only fuck older dudes.
And no, because there are younger guys who are much more experienced, are much more refined.
But
age is nothing but a number. Experience is what really counts.
Sure, maturity for sure.
Maturity and just like experience in living, like you can be aware of those things early on if you've had the experience.
Yeah.
That's not to say you need to start being a sex connoisseur at 21, but I'm just saying like it really is all about like teaching and showing people like, hey, let me show you where you can buy some good lube. Let me show you this place where you can get good poppers or good, it's just like it's education really. Ultimate, first and foremost, education, and that's really the platform I'm really trying to. The 2024 election. Education.
Well, that's our podcast. We're educating the children.
So anyway, but the real story though that you inspired this real story that we don't have that much time, but it's actually a brief story. So that you getting like the guy coming to your place and like ignoring, and the guy not getting hard, and then you sneaking out. This all about a story that I haven't told you. I was working as a server at this restaurant in the Lower East Side, and like I'm a cute server, I'm a cute guy, hot, whatever. And so
how long ago was this?
This is a few years ago. Shut up! Don't be a fucking bitch.
So what? You were 13.
I was 13 serving tables. Okay, so I was 13, and so I was serving, and then I don't think it makes me a slut either to like bring guys that I serve home. Like I feel like if I hit it up, there's this one guy from Maine when I worked at Beauty in Essex that like he was visiting, and I served him. From the moment I saw him, I was like, "You're coming home with me." And then he was older too. Like I've always loved an older guy, not old like you, but like like older to like late 30s, 40s, whatever.
Okay.
So anyway, table of gays, 4 gays. They're all like stereotypical like. Which at first I was like, okay, here we go. But it was like, Hell's Kitchen, like professional gays kind of vibe that like, they wear like a button down and slacks 9 to 5, but then they come out and they wear like the tight black t-shirt and the jeans, they're trying to like be young and cool.
The type.
And so like they were all really hot and cool. But then that can go one or two ways. Either they are cool or they're just obnoxious and they're just the trash bag of gay humanity.
Sure.
They were cool, particularly this one. His name was Shane.
Okay, dox him.
Okay, well, it's so many Shanes in the world. Also, Shane for a 40-something-year-old, interesting vibe. I was like, okay, Shane's, I guess, growing to their age. Long story short, we were vibing at the table. Somebody's birthday, and I remember, of course, as I always have been, and forever will be a forward girly. I was like, well, you should take me out sometime. He was like, yeah, well, what are you doing tonight? And I was like, well, I don't know, you tell me. So I left him my number on a napkin, and then he took it. He texted me that night, and I was closing at work, and he was like, hey, we're gonna go to this now defunct meatpacking bar called Westway, but Tuesdays was West Gay. It was gay night on Tuesdays.
I love.
And it was really cool. It was like known for like having sex spaces and whatever, but it was also fun. They had like voguing and drag performances, but also like a techno place. Like it was definitely a place to go there, meet him. And at this point, like our age gap would have been like what, probably like 20 years. And I liked that. I was like, oh yeah, daddy with money, and he's hot, he's nice body, and he's nice. Met him there. He just would not stop buying me drinks. I was like, Mama, like, I already came all the way to the west side to meet you. Like, you don't have to get me drunk for me to come home with you.
You're like, I already want to.
Like, he literally bought me a drink, and I took one sip. He was like, want another one? And I was like, Mama, it's okay.
Wait, I need that. I need like an older guy to want to buy me drinks. Oh, manifest that's happening for me tonight at Thorgy.
Thorgy buys you drinks.
I'll take it, girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it.
So, he had a beautiful apartment in Chelsea. One of those fancy buildings.
Of course.
And then it was 4 a.m. and Westgate was known for like lasting until 6 a.m. or whatever. And I could tell by his urgency that he was just like, what, another one? Like he was just trying to like get the ball rolling. But I was like, we can just leave. Like we don't have to stay here. And so eventually it was just like, babe, like we don't have to stay here. He was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, like we can just go to your place. Like let's go have fun. And then I realized that like as we're leaving, he starts yawning and stuff, so I could tell that he was getting tired. And so I was like, okay, like, we didn't have to come all the way here. We could have just gone to your place, but whatever. So it's like 4 something in the morning. We'll leave Westgate.
4 a.m.?
Yeah, because I mean, this guy like was worth it. I was like, okay, he's gonna pound me out.
Do you follow him on Instagram?
And of course, no, Facebook. But then Facebook disappeared.
Oh.
He might. I don't know if he died or something. Anyway,
COVID. It was COVID.
It was COVID. And so go to his place, and throughout the Westgate experience, I was already feeling him up, so I could tell like the dick was like nice and girthy, and I was like trying to jerk him off on the dance floor. Like I was like, yes. Get to his place, get to bed. I think at that point, once the roles reversed, because once we got there, I was like, oh, now I'm like, let's get to it, you know? We're close, you're gonna fall asleep soon. And then he just kept, so he was trying to do this whole sensual thing, and I was like, no, please, I don't want sensual right now. I just want to get pounded out. Like, you just like fed me like 5 vodka sodas to chug. Like, I want to get pounded out. We're laying in his bed, I'm on my back, he's on top of me. And then he like starts doing this thing where he's just like hugging me and holding on to me, like kissing me. And then he's just like laying there. He's just like, and like I couldn't see him because I was just like this, you know. And then I'm like, what is happening? Like he's just like taking too much of. I realized after 2 minutes that Mr. Shane was not indeed just taking his time kissing my neck. He had fallen asleep.
Yeah.
And I could tell first by the weight of his body that went from like fully active to non-active. And I was like, wait, I'm starting to get suffocated. And like he's a muscly like 6'4", whatever. And I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, Shane. So falls asleep on me, and so I'm trying to be nice. So I'm just like trying to like moan or do some noise that will wake him. So I was like, and then I was just like, and then he woke up and then went back to kissing me, and I was like, okay, put the dick in the hole. Goes back, falls back asleep again. At that point, I'm like, oh my god, I'm humiliated. Like this guy keeps falling asleep on me. Like I'm not gonna get any dick, and it's 5 a.m. at this point. I lived in Bushwick. I was like, my commute home could be like an hour and a half.
Well,
like,
it's already like 5 a.m. at this point, girl. Yeah, so it's like everyone's going to work.
Yeah, so everyone's going to work. I push him to the side with all my strength. I was like, push him to the side, start getting out of the bed, and as I stand up, I feel a crazy force. He grabbed me by the waist, forces me back into the bed, and he's like, you're not going anywhere. And I was like, I am gonna get Dahmered. I'm gonna get Dahmered at this Chelsea apartment. And then I was like, okay. And then he like literally snuggled me like a toy. He snuggled me and like wrapped his arms around me and then kissed me in my back, and then he fell back asleep. And then I was like, I guess I'm sleeping here. Slept there like 3 hours. Woke up, tried to leave again. It was like 7 a.m. or something, like close to 8, a few hours only. And then I was like, oh my god, this is my time to escape. I got kidnapped for 3 hours. I got kidnapped in Chelsea, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave. Putting my underwear on, I was like, this is my big escape. And then he's like, where are you going? And I was like, I'm just gonna leave. I was like, I gotta go home. Like, I gotta, whatever, get ready for work. I haven't been home yet. And he goes like, but I was gonna make us breakfast. And then I was like, no. And then I thought about it. I think I had like about $3 in my account. I was like, I don't think I can afford food today. And I was like,
okay.
So I stayed for breakfast.
Was it good?
Makes me breakfast. Was a great cook. Of course. Had a fucking island kitchen in his apartment.
You should have married him.
Made me breakfast. And then I remember I left it. I like ate like in the animes. Like I was like, I was like, thank you so much. Bye. And then he was like, well, I left my scarf and my gloves there. And he thought that I left my scarf and gloves there intentionally because I wanted to come back. And then he messaged me being like, hey, you left your scarf and gloves. I guess that means you want to come back. And I was like, no, you can keep it.
You didn't want to go back?
No, because like it was just embarrassing. He fell asleep on me twice while trying to have sex. Like I don't want to go through that humiliation again. He came to the restaurant again 2 more times.
And what happened?
Oh, I did not serve his ass. I was like, hey, Shane.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, that was too embarrassing for me.
That happened, that actually, really quick before we get Pioneers and Trailblazers, that happened to me once in college, my senior year. A guy that I had hooked up with maybe like once or twice before texted me drunk, and he was like, what are you doing right now? I'm outside your dorm. And I was like, huh? And he was literally outside my dorm, which was right on Washington Square Park, on a city bike, drunk. calling out for me.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what? And I went outside and I was like, what are you doing? Like, you can't, like, you shouldn't be riding a bike in the city, like, drunk. And he was like, he's like, I really want, like, will you go home with me? Like, I really want you to come home with me. And I was like, kind of horny. So I was like, okay. So I walked back, because he lived kind of close to where my dorm was. So I walked him back home. And we get into his apartment and we're like making out and stuff, and he had roommates, but like they're all in bed sleeping or whatever. And so we start hooking up and I'm like sucking his dick a little bit, and then he gets on top of me and I'm laying on my back and he's making out with me. Next thing I know, I hear, mind you, this man similarly like 6'3", whatever, but he's like a football player, like big, like broad, and I'm crushed underneath him, and I'm trying to wake him up, but he's passed out. He will not wake up. Like, he is dead asleep. So I have to roll out from underneath him, which took me like 5 minutes because he was so heavy. And I like got out, and even that didn't wake him up. And then I had to leave a note being like, hey, went home. Like, I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.
That's so nice of you.
I know. And now he's like, I didn't see him for like a full year. And then the next time I saw him was a work related event, because he does social media for a very prominent business in this city. And I had like a moment on TikTok and I did a collab with them. And so he like reached out to me and was like, would you want to come and like do this thing? And I was like, sure. So then I saw him for the first time after that, and we pretended that it never happened.
You're like, hey,
I was like, oh my God, so good to see you. He's like, hi. And then his coworker was like, how do you two know each other? And we were like, oh, like around, you know. And then
it's a small community.
And then she literally was like, oh, I see. Got it. And then we were like, cool. But yeah, no, lovely guy. Love him down. You have a pioneer for the week?
You know what? Yes. I had a lunch meeting today. Lunch meeting and catch up with a friend, and also, I guess, well, one day you'll hear about this, but you know, talking about the little thingies and whatever that I'm working on, and got great feedback. I'm really excited. But you know, he had treated me the previous time we went to lunch, because it was a business lunch and whatever, and like this time, you know, sometimes we feel so indebted to somebody and you really want to pay it forward. So of course, you know, sometimes I like to treat, you know, somebody for like, you know, taking the time to give me, you know, we're friends, but also for you to give me feedback on professional stuff and like working in a professional professional project. So I went ahead, we both put our cards down, but then when the girl came back to do it, and I was like, put everything on my card, and he was like, no, and I was like, no, please, my treat, last time you treated, it's my turn to treat you, thank you so much for taking the time, like, I really appreciate it, you're great, love you, real good. And then the girl's like, well, you know, like, I'm a hit with like servers, of course, and like they're all laughing and whatever, and then like, I don't know what I was telling the server, but then like, she was charging, and she was like, oh, oops, and I was like, oh, what happened? She was like, oh, I accidentally charged you the table right next to us, not your table. It's a table of 4 women. And she was like, I'm going to avoid it right now. And of course, you don't want to be the person who's like, oh, how much was it? So she was like, I'll bring you the receipt. I just voided the transaction. And I was like, okay. Meanwhile, I'm just like, I hope I have enough money to cover both bills, because she charged ours and then voided the other one. This girl was like, you were distracting me. I was like, but she was trying to be funny. She was like, you were distracting me by my jokes. And I was like, okay, pioneer woman, blaming it on the customer, like you charged the wrong table.
She was in the right. Actually, it was your fault.
She was.
Believe women.
Okay, you know what? To her, I say pioneer this girlie with the glasses who was just like, oopsie, sorry, I charged you almost $200 wrong.
Love her.
So love her down.
We stand her.
We stand her.
This is a state account.
What's your trailblazer?
My trailblazer is going to be. Have you heard of the television reality series For the Love of DILFs?
Anyway, follow us.
No. I have not. So season 2 just premiered like a couple of weeks ago, and they have the first full episode on YouTube. And I implore everybody who listens to this podcast, please watch it. It's available for free. The first episode on YouTube, called For the Love of DILFs. It is hosted by Stormy Daniels.
Oh my God!
Do you know the premise?
She's booking.
She's booked and blessed, and honestly, she's a pretty good host. Like she's she's not an actress, so it's like she doesn't.
I mean, some would say she is.
Well, she is in some regards, but in front of a camera, like hosting, she needs a little bit of training. But love her down. But it's basically they call them himbos and dilfs versus like sons and dad, like you know what I mean? Because it's like weird and creepy, like incesty if you say son, I guess, on like a reality TV show. But it's like these like young guys who are like into older men, and then it's like all these older dudes who are like looking for love, and then they like it's like Bachelor style like reality dating show where they're all in a house together in Miami, and they're like trying to like
from here, from the US,
and it is fully an out-of-body experience watching that show, because it is, first of all, one, solo budget, and two, the people on it, bad. Like you can tell that the producers are heavily like influencing what happens on screen. And there is a twist that like they like will bring new daddies and himbos to the house to like change things up, because apparently it's like an elimination based show, even though they haven't. There's 2 episodes out, and I've only and there has been no elimination yet, so I'm like, what? And then the way that they pair them up is so crazy. But there are a set of twins on the show, and I was so high last night when I watched the episode. I was convinced that the twins weren't actually twins, and that it was just a setup from production, because it looked like whenever they did their confessionals together that they were both green screened in at the same time. And like, because they would never and whatever, but it was just because of the poor quality of like the video that I was watching. But then also there was one scene in which they're all in a kitchen together, and literally one of them looks green screened in. And so then I was like, had this whole moment where like, I'm gonna write an investigative journalism piece about Twingate on For the Love of Dilfs, because they're trying to scam us into thinking that this one person is actually twins, when in reality they probably just couldn't afford to hire another person for the cast. Did my research, turns out actually twins. But I was so convinced that it was faked, and I was ready to expose the fuck out of the show. Anyway, there is a daddy on there named Sal, and I do want him so desperately. He's 60 years old. He's hot as fuck. I am not his type, but he had a moment where he got really emotional talking about like his like last relationship that lasted.
Don't spoil the show for the
No, I'm not. But he had an emotional moment where he talked about a previous relationship that he had for like 13 plus years, and he got like emotional, and I was like, oh my god, he has a heart. Who the fuck is calling me?
Your fucking friend, because you're late.
No, it's my sister.
Anyway, I gotta call mine's her birthday. Anyway, follow us at Pioneers and Trailblazers on TikTok and Instagram. Please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify. We're trying to grow. We're trying to work on things, but please help us get the word out. I would say, not to be negative, but that we've kind of plateaued on listenership and viewership, so maybe it's time to start spreading the gospel. If the Mormons can do it, if the people from Salt Lake City can start spreading the word of God, it's time to spread the word of the podcast. So share it with your friends, your girlies, your himbos, your dilfs. Share it with them. Sure, recommend a good episode. Maybe this one, because this one has all the tips and tricks, honey.
Tell your dilfs about me, because I'm interested in them. And
please continue sending me those jerk off videos. Thank you for taking all the notes.
And I'm sorry,
they really keep coming, and I'm showing them today.
No, and I'm sorry, and I know that like I said I don't ever check my requests or like my messages, but like every now and again I will, and I don't see a jerk off video in there. So what the fuck is that about? What is that about?
It's because people know that I care about them and I will engage with them.
Well, if you're a man 35 plus.
Wow, not with the ages.
Well, the dilfs.
Listen, if you think you're right up my alley and want to see more, hit me up. But also, if you want to hit me up, make sure that you left a review and subscribe to YouTube and all those things, because I will verify. I don't know how, but I will verify. You want to see a whole video of me? I'm going to verify.
Okay, retract if you're 25 plus.
Listen, a lot of our girlies, well, I guess it'll just be legal. Please be legal.
Well, no. For me, it's my age or older.
Please be legal.
It's my age or older.
Well, I had somebody I wanted to shout out on the thing. Oh, damn. It's on my phone. Anyway, next episode.
We'll show you.
Follow me at Hey Peru on Instagram, at Hey Peru on TikTok.
I'm at Nicholas.Rose on Instagram, ClownfaceBinch on TikTok, and ClownfaceBitch on Twitter /X, and Pioneers and Trailblazers on Instagram for us as well. And YouTube, if you listen or if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe.
Yeah.
Leave a comment, like it, share it. We love you, and we want to continue to do this because this is really fun, and we love educating.
Oh, yeah, and before we leave, the votes came in. Google Maps, baby. Over 60%.
Okay, well, fuck Google Maps. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't give a fuck. I love Apple Maps.
Wow. Anyway,
I'm gonna suck Tim Cook off.
I guess comment with your favorite position that you learned today. The first lady or the lollipop. Tell us which is your favorite technique you learned in the comments.
First lady, the lollipop technique.
Yep.
Those are the only two.
But hey, they're good. They're good.
That's the poll.
Right.
Okay. Bye.